What is a synonym for regret?
Here are some synonyms for regret. Be sorry about, feel contrite about, feel apologetic about, feel remorse about, for, be remorseful about.
This is why I keep saying the word regret. This is a lipstick I don't feel contrite about buying. That doesn't work. Okay, well, I'll just keep saying the word regret. If the shoe fits, right? Hey, makeup friends. If you're anything like me, you enjoy finding an excellent bargain when it comes to makeup, especially when the makeup performs better than what its price tag might suggest. But also, every now and then, you enjoy splurging and treating yourself. Now, sometimes those splurges turn into makeup regrets. However, today I'm here to share with you 10 items that I have splurged on that I have no regrets about. Let's do this. Before we get into the video, I want to welcome you back to my channel, or if you are new here, then hello and welcome. My name is Kara, and on my channel, we like to mix beauty, brains, and the occasional F-bomb. Really quickly, the makeup that I'm wearing today on my eyes is from Nars. This is the Claudette palette, and on my lips, I have a lipstick from Eldridge in the shade Velvet Jazz. So like I said at the top, I have 10 items that I want to share with you. I haven't gone through and ranked them. These are in absolutely no particular order, but what I thought I would do is start with the base products, move on to eye products, and end up with lip products. So first up, what we're going to talk about is this foundation here from Dior. This is the Airflash Spray Foundation. I have it in shade 201. When I first saw this, I literally thought that you sprayed it on your face, and I really didn't understand how that would be appealing to anybody. And then I figured out, no, you're stupid. You spray it on your brush and then apply it that way. And of course, it works beautifully. So it provides medium coverage. It looks very skin-like once it's applied. There's not a lot of dewiness, but nor is it super mattifying. It just looks like natural skin, but provides that little bit of extra coverage to sort of even things out without being mask-like or particularly heavy. Because it is aerosolized, it's also very lightweight. So this is a foundation that I can wear throughout the day and not feel any heaviness on my skin or have that urge to just wash my face off at any given point. So I really do enjoy this despite its $78 price tag. If you are Canadian, you can get this at Shoppers Drug Mart, which is where I purchased mine from, using points. So I didn't actually spend the money out of pocket on it. We're going to see that with a couple other items that I have here, but even if I had paid this with money, I would not have regretted it because I really do like how it wears and how it looks on the skin. Next up, I've lumped 3 products into one because they are part of a larger collection, and that is the Claudette collection from Nars. So I have the Cheek Duo, the eyeshadow palette, and I picked up one of the soft matte lipsticks as well. I do have a full dedicated video to these products, but it bears repeating. The blush is a duo, but it's beautiful. I normally shy away from these split pans, but this one's large enough that your brush fits easily onto either side, or you can mix them together, which is what I've done today for my blush. I love these shades on my skin tone. I think they just look really natural. They give that little bit of flushed look to the skin where it looks kind of like I've exerted myself without looking like I'm trying too hard. I think they're absolutely beautiful, and of course the packaging as well on this is top notch. The eyeshadow palette as well is stunning. I love this palette. It blends so nicely. These matte shades are so buildable and so blendable. I was concerned, and you'll see that if you watch my initial review video of this, I was concerned because there was no matte lighter shade. This is as light as it gets, and yet if you go in with a very light hand, it blends out nicely to just add a sheer wash of color to the lids. I think it's impeccably done. This is a palette that makes me want to buy more Nars palettes. I think it's beautiful. I love working with it. Like I said, it's what's on my eyes today. Those shimmers last all day. The mattes hold up well as well. It's just overall a beautiful palette, and I'm so happy I picked this up. Likewise, the lipstick, again, you have that stunning packaging. This one's covered in butterflies. I picked up the shade Mathilde, and it's just this beautiful peachy kind of matte shade. They call it a soft matte. It gives sort of like that blurred effect where it is still matte, but it's not harsh. It doesn't sink into every line on your lips, and it's very comfortable to wear. It's not a drying formula at all. I really enjoy wearing this one, and I have got quite a bit of use out of it. The collection cost me a pretty penny though. So the palette was $62, the duo was $59, and the lipstick was $43. Despite the fact that I paid close to $200 once you factor in our provincial sales tax here, I have no regrets. But again, if you're Canadian, I have seen the duo on the Shoppers Drug Mart website recently. I haven't seen the palette yet, but the cheek duo is there. So if you are interested and you have some points saved up, you can either get money off or get it entirely for free. So that's kind of awesome. And I'm hoping, because they're getting the blush duo, I'm hoping that they'll get the palette and the lipsticks as well. Okay, so now we're going to switch our focus over to eyeshadow palettes, and one that for whatever reason I can no longer find anywhere online is the Glam palette from Natasha Denona. Perhaps it was limited edition and that fact escaped me. I didn't think that it was, but I can't find it anywhere online. So if you do know where you can pick this up still, please leave a comment down below because I'd be happy to link to that. But as of right now, I can't find it on the Natasha website. I can't find it on Beautylish or on Sephora either. So at any rate, I did pick it up through Sephora and I paid $87 Canadian for it. And again, as is the theme of this video, I have no regrets. This is just one of those palettes that is a staple palette in my opinion. I can use this pretty much any day and not get bored of it. There's just enough variety in there, despite the fact that they're all neutral tones. There's just enough variety and just enough difference in those undertones that you can create entirely different looks from day to day using this. The formula of these shadows is beyond reproach. These mattes blend out beautifully. They're velvety and buttery soft. The shimmers, again, you can apply them with a brush very easily. You can build up their intensity with some setting spray, and they last beautifully all throughout the day without any creasing or flaking off or any just disappearing into the ether as some shimmers do. I really have no complaints about this palette except for the fact that I can no longer find it. If they made this limited edition, that was a really silly move because it's such a beautiful staple palette that it should be available on their permanent line, but I don't have any say over that. I can't find it, so I'm suspecting that it might have been limited edition or a bunch of people have figured out just how good it is and it's just sold out. I don't know. Regardless, I have no regrets over this and I'm very happy that it's part of my collection. Another palette that I think is sort of a fundamental part of my collection is this one from Vive. This is the Essential Eye palette, which I think is just very appropriately named because again, it has that range of neutral shades in there that you can wear on a day-to-day, everyday basis. This one provides more opportunity for creativity than the Glam palette does because there is the wider variety of shades, but again, it just covers all of your bases. And the point that I made when I did my review of this palette is that the undertones all play really nicely with each other, so you really can't mess this palette up. As well, the choice of shimmer shadows plays well with all of the mattes. So again, it's kind of an idiot-proof palette. I also love that the pans are just as big as they are. It's really easy to get your brush in there, and I feel like this is a really sound investment because there is so much product. Converting this into Canadian dollars, this palette goes for $73. I believe it's 43 British pounds. But again, it's totally worth the price point in my opinion because of the ease of use, because of just how much use I can get out of it, and because I just love working with these shadows as much as I do. I have no regrets over purchasing this. The most expensive item on my list today is from Tom Ford, and it's this quad here in De La Creme. This cost me $115 Canadian plus sales tax, so it is incredibly pricey. And frankly, it was a bit of a gamble. A, because I might not have liked it, but B, because I might have really liked it, which then kind of opens the floodgates. So that's the camp that we're sitting in here because I love how these shadows perform. And so I'm like, maybe I want more of these quads. But at $115 each, I'm strongly resisting that urge. But I have to say, again, it's very neutral, but when I'm going to spend that much money, I want to spend it on a palette that I think I'm going to be able to maximize my use out of. So rather than spend it on shadows that I might bust out once in a blue moon, you know, an electric blue or super sparkly shimmer or something of that sort, while I think those shades are beautiful, they're not my go-to everyday kind of shades, whereas these ones are. So if I'm going to invest, I want to invest in a shade that I'm going to be able to get the most use out of. And so for that reason, this fits the bill for me. Now these mattes basically blend themselves. They are beautiful, like absolutely beautiful. The shimmers are not quite as punchy as I typically enjoy, but having said that, this does produce a super easy look that I can wear every single day. And again, these shimmers that are in here last throughout the day. I don't care how beautiful it is when you first apply it. If 2 hours later the shimmers have disappeared or they've all creased up on my lids, what does it matter? I need them to have longevity, and these ones most definitely do. And while it is an insanely expensive price point, the packaging is beautiful. The whole experience of using these shadows is fantastic. And so it's just one of those splurges that made me feel happy. And every time I use this, I still get that same sense of enjoyment out of it. So for me, it was worth it. Rounding out the eye category, we're going to shift over to eyeliner. This one here from Guerlain, it's obnoxiously expensive. This is $51 for an eyeliner, and yet I love it. I use it all the time. I suspect that I could use this until the end of time and still have good use left in it because it's just a massive well of eyeliner. It applies so nicely. It lasts all day. It doesn't flake off. I don't have to apply a ton of layers in order to get a nice opaque line. It just applies like a dream and dries really quickly as well. It does have your actual brush applicator, and yet despite that, I don't find that I have any issues with it. Sometimes brushes are too short and then they're just kind of stabby and they don't really apply the product nicely. Sometimes the brushes are too long and then you lose that precision and it's just kind of like waving in the wind. This one just has that length that's right in the sweet spot where I still have a lot of precision, but it just glides on really nicely and you can get really good precision out of it as well. I find that this liner doesn't smudge off. It doesn't dry completely matte, so I will put that out there. There is just a little bit of a shine to it, but it's not enough that it bothers me. Once I apply my mascara, you really can't tell at all. So this one it ranks right up there for me. It's not quite my absolute favorite eyeliner of all time. That crown belongs to ABH, but it is a really nice liner, and my ABH one is on its very last leg, so I'm saving that for whenever I do actual winged liner. But on a day-to-day basis, I tend to just line my upper lash line and don't bother with wings, and this one gets the job done very nicely. Okay, so now it's time to talk about lip products. And while I said that the Tom Ford Quad was the most expensive item, what I want to talk about next actually did cost more, but there's 3 products. So what I'm talking about is a trio of lipsticks from Lisa Eldridge. Now, I don't really know what to do with these in terms of, obviously I'm including them in this video, but when I do my monthly roundup of the items that I've purchased, these were a gift from Barry, but the money came from a joint account, but it was a gift, so I don't know how to deal with that. If you have any suggestions, let me know. But at any rate, I wanted to include them in this video because they are insanely expensive, and yet I have no regrets about them because I love them so much. So the 3 of them together with a little velvet carrying case cost about $170 Canadian once you factor in the shipping costs, the exchange rate, and the duties that we had to pay as well. So very hefty price tag. Now, they're beautiful. Now I do have one of her more neutral shades. I do have Velvet Muse, which I've worn in videos in the past and which I've worn several times. So I'm very familiar with the formula. So I knew what I was getting into when I said to Barry that this would be the Valentine's gift to end all Valentine's gifts. And so these do not disappoint. Now because I'm wearing a light colored sweater, I'm not going to swatch these live because I just know that I'm going to drop one and ruin like it's a whole thing, and I know myself, I know I will do that. So I'm just going to insert a picture here. So at the top is Velvet Morning, which I think is just such a beautiful, bright, orangey red. And then it's going to be followed by Velvet Ribbon, which is your classic blue-based red. This is that red that makes your teeth look ultra white. It's so flattering, such a beautiful shade. And then at the bottom is Velvet Jazz, which again is the shade that I'm wearing today. So it's your nice, deeper, vampier sort of red. Now, I don't have a lot of red bullet lipsticks to begin with. I did have Ruby Woo for quite some time, but I decluttered it back in December because it wasn't smelling the way MAC lipsticks normally smell. I've had it for years, so it was time to get rid of it. I typically don't buy a lot of red bullet lipsticks because I find that they just travel all over my face. They feather, they rub off, they just do stuff that I don't want them to do, and I don't trust them. However, having had experience with the other Lisa Eldridge lipstick that I have, Velvet Muse, I knew that the formula was going to be very comfortable, I knew that it was going to be long wearing, and I knew that it would stay put. So I really have no concerns wearing these red lipsticks, and now basically any red that I would need, I have. These are the red shades that I tend to gravitate towards, either an orangey red, a true blue-based red, or the deeper vampier red as well. So I do have to say thank you to my wonderful husband for basically just handing over his credit card and giving me full blessing to buy these. I don't think he knew exactly how much they were going to cost, but you know, he loves me, and that's what really matters. You cannot put a price on that. Next up is a product that really should come as no surprise to anybody. If you've seen more than one of my videos, you've probably heard me mention the Pat McGrath gloss formula. I adore this formula, and this shade in particular, which is called Flesh Fantasy, is just the perfect nude lip gloss. It goes with any makeup look. It's incredibly comfortable to wear. There's no stickiness to it. There's no grittiness to it. It doesn't produce those little strings of disgustingness between your lips as you're talking. It stays put. It doesn't feather. Basically, it just does what you would really hope a gloss would do, and it lasts a little bit longer than you might expect a gloss to last. So I think that this is totally worth the price point. These do come in at $37 Canadian, so while not the most expensive item on my list, it is still expensive for a lip gloss, but I have no regrets over this one. It is my favorite lip gloss out there. Highly, highly recommend it. Another lip product that I have raved about over and over again comes from Chanel, which again, if you're Canadian, you can find on the Shoppers Drug Mart Beauty Boutique website. And in particular, it's their liquid lipsticks. These are the Ultra Tenue double-ended liquid lipsticks. So you have the pigmented color obviously down here, and then up here is a clear gloss that just comes with a little brush applicator. So basically you apply the liquid lipstick, let it dry down for a bit, and then apply the gloss on top of it. These liquid lipsticks are so long lasting. Now, when you do first apply it, before you apply the gloss, it is highly sticky. It's very uncomfortable. But as soon as you put that gloss on top of it, all of that stickiness and discomfort goes away and it doesn't return. I have tried other products that are basically the exact same thing. Most recently, it was from Rimmel, I believe. No, NYX. NYX has come out with one, and I don't remember what it is. I talked about it in my favorites and fails at the end of January. Did not like that at all. It became very gritty on my lips. It became very sticky. I had to keep putting the gloss on top of it, and overall it was just a terrible experience. These, on the other hand, I have never had any complaints about. I've never had any issues with that. They are very long lasting, and yet when they do start to fade, they do start to fade a bit more gradually than you might expect a liquid lipstick to do so, and you're not just left with a ring around the outside of your mouth, which is definitely not a look that I'm going for. These retail for 48 Canadian each, so they are quite the investment. These two in particular are my favorite shades, although I do have quite a few. Again, thank you, Shoppers Drug Mart points. I do have a video somewhere on my channel swatching all of the ones that I had at that point out. I think I've added one or two since. I'm going to try to put cards up throughout this video of any products that I've done reviews on, but I do cap out at a certain amount, so look for it in the description box if you don't see a card popping up. But at any rate, these two in particular, so we have Bright Raspberry and Intense Caramel. Intense Caramel is just one of those neutral shades that goes with any look that you might be wearing. And then obviously Bright Raspberry is this beautiful, bright, pinky sort of red shade. And I love both of these. Last but definitely not least is this lipstick here from Gucci. This is one of their sheer lipsticks in the shade Wife versus Secretary. It looks like it's going to be this really intense purple, and yet because it is sheer, it just comes off as a very faint wash of color. You can build it up from there, but it's never going to get as intense as it looks in the bullet. But I just find that it's really comfortable on the lips. It almost feels balm-like when you apply it. And I do like that it is a sheer wash of color, particularly because I spent $55 on it, and I wouldn't spend that on a purple if it was going to look like this, because I just wouldn't get as much wear out of it. But this is one of those lipsticks that, because it does apply so sheerly, I can wear it with pretty much any look, and it's not going to distract or draw attention away from the eyes or anything of that sort. So I love the formula on this, and I also really like the packaging on it. I just think it's so beautiful and unique. I don't have anything else like that in my collection. And so sometimes when you're splurging on makeup items, it goes beyond just the product itself and how the product performs. Sometimes you're also, putting money towards the packaging and the experience of using that product. And that's where this one fits in for me. Every time I look at it, I just feel happy. I just really love the packaging. I just love how fancy I feel using this lipstick. And so there's a multitude of reasons why I really am glad that I picked it up. I mean, the price is definitely high, but on a one-off basis, I don't regret it. And there we have it, guys. Those are 10 items that I have splurged on. I've treated myself, and I do not feel badly about it. These are all products that bring something to the table, whether it's just impeccable performance or packaging that just brings a little spark of joy to my heart. I adore each and every one of these products, and I have no regrets about them. Now, as always, I would love to hear from you in the comments. What are some splurge items that you have picked up that bring joy to your heart, that make them worth it to you? I'd love to hear from you on that. But with that, I'm going to wrap this video up. Thank you so much for taking the time to watch, and I will see you in my next one. Until then, just be a decent human being. Bye for now.